Okay, can you hear me now?
Well, let me
Okay, can you hear me now? I can hear me. Okay, good. I was, yeah. I was
Okay, good.
I was linked to my Bluetooth headphones.
I was, yeah.
Okay, good. Yay. So last week, hang on, I've got to grab this before I forget. Last week, Sunday, for those of you that didn't shout out to you, thank you. Thank you for catching that, Haley. So last week, in case you missed it, we had our first live stream with our June kits. Hi, Para. Welcome. Glad you're here. So we did our first live stream with our June kits, and it ran long, because I didn't have enough time to prepare, and I was cutting everything live, including all the fussy cutting. So, you know what, Kim, you can catch it on replay. So, yeah, look at the lives on our channel, and you'll see it there. And so we did the first 2 pages, which are here. Hopefully you can see them. Let's see, do I have it right? Yeah. So this was the first one that we did. And these are both included on our project sheet for June. Oh, good. Yeah, do watch it, and then you can create the layouts. And then this one as well. And so on the project sheet, it shows the titles. So our June kit came with a bunch of chipboard titles, but they have like a resist layer on them. So when you add mixed media to them, I don't know if you can see this. Of course, this is my front camera, so it's going to be backwards, but when I switch, we'll be good. But anyway, they have a resist pattern on them. So when you add color to them, the part that has the resist stays white. So I'll show you today. We'll do another one, and we'll add color to these as well. So I'll show you how to do that. I know. Yeah, they're backwards. But when I switch my camera so that it's looking down, we'll make sure that we've got everything right. So how's your week been? Mine feels like it was longer. This happens every time I have a 3-day weekend. I feel like the remainder of the week is super busy. Maybe it's because you have to pack so much into the last part of the week. First day of school for you, for your kids, or are you a teacher? Yeah, it's crazy. I've been like, this week I felt like discombobulated. So for those of you who are new here, or maybe probably some of you have come from our new Craft and Connect community, which is amazing, by the way. So I wanted to kind of share that with you all a little bit in case you aren't familiar with it. So 3 weeks ago, we started a new community on the school platform. It's called Craft and Connect, and it's amazing. I love it so much, and it's been something that I've been thinking about for a very, very long time, and it has the exact feel of everything that I envisioned. So I've been scrapbooking for hi, Sophie. Good to see you. I'm sure you're busy today. Aren't you on call? Yeah, I think I remember some messages saying that you were on call for like 2 weeks straight. So, anyway, we started this community. I've been scrapbooking for like since the 1990s. And even before that, I scrapbooked in high school and I butchered some of our wedding pictures by cutting them and cropping them and all that kind of stuff. You're a good multitasker then, Sophie. I don't know that I could manage both doctoring and being here, but I'm thrilled that you're here. So anyway, I started scrapbooking in high school with your basic album that ties together with string, and it has like this, I don't know if it's like craft paper or it's really crappy paper. And you put your pictures with a glue stick or scotch tape or whatever, and memorabilia, newspaper clippings, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe pressed flowers from your prom corsage. Lord knows what's in mine, but that's kind of where it started. And I dabbled a little bit to kind of create something with some of my wedding snapshots, not the formal pictures, but some that were taken. And I opened that book up and I completely cringe, but it is what it is. And then in 1998, when I was pregnant with our youngest daughter, I couldn't find a baby book for our middle daughter. And I thought, if I wait till our third daughter is born, there is construction paper. That's exactly it. If I waited till the arrival of our third daughter, our middle daughter would never get a baby book. So I'd been going to Michael's and looking around and not really finding what I was looking for there. And I happened to go into a scrapbooking store, and the gal that was there, I visited with her for a long time, kind of told her what I was looking at doing, and she helped me gather a bunch of stuff and an album and the trimmer and the zig two-way glue was the thing back then. They probably still have those, maybe, who knows. But anyway, cardstock and paper. And at that time, 12 by 12 was very new and there was very little of it. So everything was single-sided and really light paper and all 8.5 by 11. And then they had like announcement cards and stuff like that and some, random stickers. So I bought a bunch of stuff, started my my first album, which happens, because I dug it out the other day, happens to be right here. This was my very first album, and this was my first real live scrapbook layout. So for those of you that are just beginning your scrapbooking journey, we all start there. And so these are the early pages, and we all have them. Look at the tilt or the rotation on those photos. And the stickers, like, check those out. Anyway, just so happens to be sitting next to me. I don't know where any of my other, all of my other albums are kind of stashed in various places. But so that's kind of where it started. And, I began, it looks like yours, I know. So it's like one of those things, but that's where it kind of all started. And, once I went into that store, that once, there was that connection between me and the owner. And, I started visiting there often, and, we would talk about what was new, the new products that were she'd either just gotten in stock or things that were coming. Or, I took a few classes. I started going to crops. I started meeting new people, and it was so much fun. And that's where the passion of scrapbooking really took root for me. And so in 2002, we moved from, yeah, it was such an awesome time. And, that's when it really took off. And there were so many manufacturers, and just, it was all very exciting. And it was like our probably our grandparents gathered together for like crop circles for quilting, and it was probably that same creative outlook in just with just a different craft. And so in 2002, we moved from the Portland area to Seattle, and I just wasn't able to find that kind of creative hub for myself. And so I opened my own store, and we opened in December of 2006. Our store was called Hip to Be Square, and the Hip Kit Club started shortly thereafter, I think in January. And so we've been going for a very long time. But doing both of those things was just very time consuming. I had young kids, but one of the things that I enjoyed in owning my own store was being able to have conversations with my customers. And I met so many people, and I made so many friends, and I loved sharing how to use products and how to look at them in a different way. And I really loved that part of it. And so in 2011, we closed our store. I needed a little bit more work-life balance. And so we focused on the Hip Kit Club, and I, was more present with my family. And that was just really an important time for me. But at that time, we started leaning more towards an online community and Facebook and Instagram. And then, YouTube was kind of coming along at that time too. And I think it worked for a period of time. But I think, with COVID and a bunch of other things, um, I, with COVID and everything that happened during that period of time, I think that Instagram and Facebook started to become inundated with so much content, and it's not all like the stuff that you're looking for or wanting to see. You share a project, and it gets buried in like layers and layers and layers of other stuff, and it just isn't seen or admired in the way that it should be. And and in Facebook and both Instagram and even YouTube, people we're programmed to scroll. You take a look and move on to the next, move on to the next. And, you just kind of scroll through things rather than really take them in and, appreciate the work that went into a project, or look at it and want to know more about it. And so, I've been feeling like our industry has been missing that personal connection for a very long time. And so, with that, had been kind of formulating this idea of creating a community, and we've been looking at a bunch of different platforms to do that. And we came across the school platform, and it's perfect. We've got a great group of people. Everybody's really active. People are sharing their projects, and we're all looking at them, admiring them. We're sharing ideas. People are asking questions about how to use something, or, giving advice on a great hack or something that, works really well for them, or people are, expressing what they're interested in knowing more about. We even have a thread about, other crafts that people are interested in. So we have a lot of avid readers, we have embroiderers, people that crochet, sew, knit, all kinds of things. So we really are that creative that home for like all people that are creative, and that crave that creative community, and being able to connect with other people who get it, because not everybody does. And if you have friends that aren't, necessarily creatively inclined, you talk about what you do and they're like, yeah, it's cute. Oh, good for you. So, it's just not the same. So you're not going to find that fulfillment that you would in a group of people that are passionate about the same hobby. So with that said, in the description box below, you will find a link to our Craft and Connect community. And it's nice, it's organized. You can find the type of information that you're looking for and hop in there, introduce yourself. There's a Let's Get Started post. It's got 2 videos, and the first one will walk you around and show you how everything is set up and organized. And then the second one will show you how to go about creating your posts. So how to create one with just text, how to create one with photos, and how to create one with an embedded video. So, you'll be all set up for success there, and you can just jump right in. And once you create that first post, the rest is easy. Everybody's super friendly and welcoming, and I'm just so thrilled about it. And I really hope that you all will pop in and take a look and give it a try. I really think that you'll find that it's a place that you want to spend time and get to know other people. And, there are people from all over the world, and who knows, maybe you'll find somebody that lives around the corner from you or in your same city, and you'll have a local crafting friend that you can get together with. So we've got all kinds of things going on in the background that we'll be sharing in the very near future, from more tutorials, video tutorials, tutorials with pictures and instructions. So everybody learns a little differently. And so we're going to provide a lot of different ways for you to learn how to do new things, and maybe be inspired to try something new, and also to learn from one another. And we find a lot of inspiration in the things that you guys share as well. So with that said, check out the link below, and I think you're going to love what we have going on there. So we would love to welcome you to your new creative home. So today we are going to work on layout 3 from our, where did I put our project sheet? Here it is. So layout 3 with our project sheet that came along with your June kit. You know what, Shelly, if you go in, you can look, there's, I believe that there's a map, and it shows where all of the different, where all of the different cities where people are located. So it's really interesting. It's a cool thing. So you can look at the map and see if somebody happens to be in your area. It doesn't have like specifics in terms of specific location like a GPS. It's not that at all, but it gives general areas. So that's kind of cool. So this is our project sheet, and so we are going to be creating this layout today. And on the reverse side, if you don't have this project sheet, or if you didn't order or don't have our June hip kit, you can go to our website. There's a link below, and you can download the project sheet, and you can look at it, look at the supplies that are included on the first image, and then you can gather supplies from your stash and just kind of create along. So you can create any of these designs with any any products you have on hand. You don't have to have the exact same thing. But if you want it, we've got them. So our June kits, there's a link for those as well if you're interested in recreating the layouts exactly as we've done. And then on the reverse side, I'm so glad you like the project sheets. The last couple of months, they've been digital because I've just had so much on my plate. There's a lot that goes into creating them, and it has to, I have to finish them in time to align with our paper production time. So it's crazy, but you know what? We do our best. And regardless of whether they're digital or physical like this, we make sure that you'll have a bunch of ideas. I'm hoping that September is going to be a sheet that we'll be able to include like this. If not, October for sure. So anyway, this is the page that we're going to be creating. And the way that it's set up is that it's set up so that it shows you all of the layering steps so you can see how the layout is constructed, rather than looking at the finish. Like if you were just to look at the finished page, you know, you might not maybe realize all the bits and pieces in terms of how you kind of layer them together. So there's an easy way to go about it. And so we start with the large pieces first. We add our larger embellishments, and then our smaller embellishments and finishing touches at the end. So with that said, let's get started. I am going to flip the camera, and this, I believe, is going to be much easier because I am who I am. Still have not set up my streaming equipment yet, but oh, one other thing before I forget to mention, we've got another live stream tomorrow where we will be creating all of the layouts that are using our July kits. So our July Craft and Connect videos is tomorrow. So 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we'd love to have you join us for that as well. If you can't make it, you can always catch the replay. So that will be there for you. So let me flip this camera, and we'll be good to go. I just want to make sure that, oh wait, I have to, nice try, Kimberly. That is my ceiling. Hang on one second, let me flip this. There we go. All right, I just want to get this kind of situated so that we are all right. Let's zoom in a bit. All right. So there. I think we're good. Should be nice and bright. Okay, I'm back. So I have cut all the pieces and set them aside in a little tray here. So that makes it easy for me to be able to have them all gathered in one place. The only thing that I haven't gathered, I think, are my puffy stickers, but yeah, that's alrighty. Let's see here. I am missing a light. Let's see. Okay, that one. This one. Oh, I knew that there was. Okay, let's see. There we go. That's better. Okay, now the lighting is better. So I've pulled everything aside, including the all the embellishments, die cuts, and all the pieces that I've pre-cut. And so on your project sheet here, you'll see some instructions, and it will give you all the instructions of the things that you need to cut ahead of time. So it has the tags and all the paper pieces as well, and the size photos that you'll need to complete this page. But you can easily use different size photos, or you know, you can kind of make some adjustments to have this fit your needs, but this is how I designed it. So and then on the back side, it shows us how to create our page. And the cool thing about, well, you'll see the cool thing about this as we move forward, but all of these flaps, you can add more photos or journaling. So when as we start making the page itself, you're going to see a lot of interactive elements on this page that you might not even know are there. So yeah. Okay, so without further ado, one thing that I think that would be fun to start with, maybe not. I was going to say we could start with adding the mixed media to the title here, but I think I want to get the page done so I can really decide what color I want this to be. You can use it the way that it is. You can use it white. That totally works. But you can also use it, colored. So it's entirely up to you in how you decide to kind of incorporate that into your page. So I am going to give myself a little bit of room because there is a lot on my desk, and I want to be able to, okay. All right. So let's kind of begin. So what we'll start with, I'm going to move these over here so that I have them all in one place, and then move my trimmer over here for when I need it, or if I need it. Okay. So first thing I need to do is I need to trim the branding strip off my cardstock. And I generally use white cardstock on each of my layouts, but you can use pattern paper or colored cardstock if you want. The reason I use the white is oftentimes I lean towards white because I oftentimes add mixed media to my pages, and we might start doing some optional mixed media effects on some layouts in the future, and then so you can try it or you can watch. So you can either add it or not. It won't necessarily need to be an essential part of your page, but for those that are interested in kind of dabbling in mixed media and seeing how that process works, we might kind of do some of that in the future. But anyway, so let's get started. I'm gonna pull this aside. So I have a 12 by 12 sheet of cardstock here. And the one thing that I do know is that I need to find my, oh good grief, of course. If I'm gonna like set something aside and lose it, it's gonna be my ruler, which is my handiest, dandiest. Oh, no, I'm not. It's right here. It's just clear. So the one thing that I know with this page is that I am going to need to know where the center point is in both vertically and horizontally, because that is going to help me place my bits and pieces. And one of the reasons is that I'm afterwards, off camera afterward, I'm going to add some machine stitching or maybe even hand stitching down the center of my page over the top of all of the layers. And then that way all the bits and pieces will be able to float up freely. So I'm going to add very little adhesive to the layers, knowing that I'm going to add adhesive to them. So we'll kind of keep that in mind as we go forward. So I just need to make a little pencil mark at 6 inches here, and then another one at 6 inches here. So I'm going to make a very light pencil mark, and I do it very lightly. It'll be able to be erased afterwards. I just use these mechanical pencils. They seem to erase really well. And if you have like one of those white art erasers, I find that those work really well for, oops. So here we go. So I've marked the center of my page. I'm gonna get rid of these darker marks, although they're gonna be covered up anyway. Okay, so now let's work on gathering the large pieces of paper. And I'll kind of show you, I've got some tips for if for some reason you had any miscuts and you weren't able to make all of the shapes that you needed. I'll show you some ideas and some ways to kind of fix that. So anyway, so I've talked about this before. My photo printer is on the fritz and I'm not organized enough to get things printed ahead of time from like a Shutterfly or one of those. So I'm using white cardstock. These are 3x3 photos. You'll want to have 3 of them. But obviously you can change these photos to be the size that you need them to be, and you can adjust your layout accordingly if you want to use larger or smaller or more photos. But I think that you're going to find that if you want to use more photos on this particular page, when you see it all put together, you'll see that you'll be able to do that afterwards. So because all of these flaps are going to be able to be lifted. So these are the tags, and it on the project sheet, it asked for one floral, 3 1/4 by 4 1/2 inch tag, and then 3 pink and 3 purple. Now, and then I had this leftover piece here. And I also, gosh, okay. So I'm going to cut, here's my trimmer. So I need this to be, these aren't gonna all be the same direction, but that's all right. So I'm gonna cut this down to 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. And there we go. Okay, we're all situated. If for some reason you, like my pink paper, the last piece that I had left wasn't quite the right size. So I used a piece of, and I used a piece of Post-it tape. And I cut a strip that was just long enough to make it the right size. You could use washi tape for this as well. And then I just placed it, butted it up right next to the paper itself, the other piece, and hold on 1 second. And it looks like it's a solid piece of cardstock or pattern paper. So you would never know that this wasn't meant to be, aside from the pattern doesn't quite line up, but we're gonna have layers on top of this stuff anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Okay, so here is where we start kind of putting our layers down. And because this page is going to be centered on, I'm thinking that we've got about, oh gosh, I'm thinking that we've got about 1 inch border on either side. So this is going to help us with lining things up. So about 1 inch here and 1 inch from top to bottom. So this will kind of help us with placing our paper just by making those little marks. But you can easily eyeball it just for the sake of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this floral piece, and I'm going to line it up with this mark here, and then I'm going to make a pencil mark that lines up with this vertical line here, because we're going to score these. And so this is how we're going to know where to put that scoring line. And then we're going to take one of the purple tags and we'll line that up right here. So what we're going to do is, okay, we're going to start by, I just want to make sure that I'm doing this the right way. Okay, so let's start by scoring this first. And I need my little scoreboard trimmer. And I was hopeful that I was gonna like this one. It was inexpensive, it was on Amazon. I'm like, wouldn't it be nice just to have a trimmer and a scoreboard all at once? And this cuts perfectly straight. These blades, they dull so quickly that it really doesn't work that well. But for scoring, it works absolutely fine. So I am just gonna line up the pencil line with my scoring line. Since I have a pencil line here, I don't need to use measurements. I just need to line it up with one of the scoring lines, and I'm just going to take and actually, because I'm gonna, no, this is fine. If it was a card, I'm not gonna score it really hard. I'm going to kind of gently score it here. So here now we can bend it. And so as we put this together, you're gonna have a better understanding of how this is gonna work. But let me put this aside for a second. Now we'll just take this, and I only want, for the time being, I'm just gonna add a little bit of just tape adhesive here, and I'm gonna kind of line this up so that it is, eyeball it so it's kind of centered between, so we have an equal distance from the top edge to the bottom edge from this horizontal line here. And then the fold line is lined up with the vertical line. So, and then because this is such a linear page, I'm going to try and make sure that everything is straight. Okay, so there we go with that. And then our second layer here is a purple tag. It would have, initially it was going to be a tag that was notched at the top if I had cut it into a tag. So if yours is notched and has a hole in it and you've kind of completed that part, that's totally fine. You don't have to worry about that. You can use it because the notched part isn't going to show. So then we're going to take a little bit of adhesive, and I might kind of add some foam adhesive a little bit later on, but for now I'm just going to put just regular tape runner. And so I'm just going to line this up so it's running along the center of this piece so that the border on either side is about the same. And then it's going to line up with this pencil mark, this 1-inch pencil mark on the right side of your page. And again, I'm just going to use my T-square ruler to make sure it's straight. And it is. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to take, since I didn't, my pink tags. So my tags, I didn't do all the notches and things. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I have some tags that were, I know I've got some tags with some holes in them that I can use to pilot these. Actually, nah. Cat. Nope. we'll just do it this way. And it will make sense to you. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw a line for the first one. I'm going to use my trimmer. And since these are not very heavy, I'm just going to use my trimmer, and I'm going to I don't want them quite. Okay. So I lied. Too thick. Okay. So what I'll do now is I'm going to take this one tag and I'll align it with each one of these so that I know where to cut. And I am just going to use scissors to cut along that line. The only reason that I'm doing it, that I did the first one with the paper trimmer, is because I hand drew the line, and I knew that I didn't draw it very straight. So, and then you flip it over and trace on the other side. And then that way your tags, the cropped edges are all the same. If you care about that. If you don't, it's not a big deal. That's just kind of, that's probably just a me thing. And then I'm going to do that on both of these. And because this one's busier, I'm just going to do it to the back side. So here's one. Flip it over. And here's the other. And then here's, so we'll do this one. The sad thing about this page, well, I don't know if it's sad, but I used the sunburst paper, which is the reverse side of the purple. However, I did create a cut file, and I also created a template for people that don't have crickets or silhouettes that you can hand cut. So you can recreate this sunburst using cardstock or pattern paper, or you could even use it, like if you had a bunch of like mixed media backgrounds that you've made and that are just sitting around, cutting them apart and using them for something like that is a great idea and a great way to use them. Okay, so now I'm just going to take my scissors and we'll cut these into tags. And then because let's do another to trace this one. Okay. That one's done. And if you do it on the back too, then you don't have the pencil marks. So, but if you do it on the front, you can just erase them. So now we've turned these all into tags. They're not perfect, but that's okay. We're not about perfection. All about the process. So I'm going to just use my eraser here and erase the pencil marks on the ones that I can see. This one is okay, this one's okay. This one has a pencil mark, both sides, and so does this one. Okay. All right, so we've got all of our tags and they're cut. Now we need to punch a hole in them, and I'm gonna put the hole right about here. And I'll do half of them and then I'll do the other half. So I'm just using my Crocodile, but you can use like a paper punch if you have one of those and you don't have a Crocodile. If you have a Crocodile, then you just take and line these up, and then you've got your hole to use to line up so that all the holes are in the same place. But honestly, that's not important really either, because we're not going to stack these on top of one another, so they don't need to be aligned perfectly. But anyway, okay, so now we've got our tags all made, and I'm going to, okay, so now what we need to do is we're going to take one of our pink tags and we'll place that here. So it's maybe an inch or so across this center line. And so I'm going to make a mark here where, because I'm going to score this one too. So I'm just making a little mark where I'm going to score this, and we're just going to kind of go back and forth with this because each layer we're going to kind of make on its own. So here I'm going to line this up with one of the scoring lines with the pencil mark, and I'm just gently going to score this, and that allows me to bend it slightly so that when this is able to flip up, this will be able to flip up. And so here it'll kind of show you, you can add a photo here, and you could add a photo here because we're not going to glue all this stuff, you know, super securely. So the stitching is going to be the primary means of attachment of all of these layers, with the exception of like this one here. But so anyway, I will add just a tiny bit of adhesive here at that fold line just to kind of hold this in place, because again I want to be able to add that stitching. If you don't want to do the stitching part, you can glue these down all the way. If you aren't interested in having like the little folds, you don't have to do this part. But it's kind of a unique way. You know, we've had some questions from people on how to include more photos on pages, and or you know, where do you put your journaling? And I just find that this is a really great way to do that. So we've got this first one done, and then we're going to add another you know what, I know what I did. Okay, we're going to grab this guy. He is going to line up here with this guy, but we're going to put a little mark for the scoring on this one, and we're going to score him as well. So I'm going to add him in here, and then I'm just going to score here. This will be able to put a little bend here, so. Okay. So this, put a little bit of adhesive here. This will sit there, and then we'll put a little bit of adhesive here. And this will go across. So now you've got all these little flaps, right? When this is able to, and I'm going, actually, this one, I'm gonna add, because I want this to stick all the way here. So, and I'm going to want, I'm gonna use liquid adhesive on this side because I want this to stick also. If you want something to stick and be really stuck, liquid adhesive is what you want to use. And this one stuck pretty well, but I want to add a little bit of liquid adhesive here as well. Okay, so that's stuck. So now we have our first line, and the cool thing is, so we've got this lined up, so the border on this side and this side is are both the same, and so it's going to help us be able to situate all the other pieces on our page. Okay, so next let's start with this lower piece. And the one thing that we know is that this piece, I'm going to use my ruler here, and I'm just going to make a little mark over here so that I know where that one inch mark is, and I'm going to put another one on this side so I know where that 1 inch mark is, and that's going to help us align things on this side as well. So first of all, let's add, this is not, okay, this needs a little bit cut off of it because this needs to be 3 1/4 and it's 3 1/2. Right. Okay, so what we'll do here is we're going to line this up, and I'm also going to make a 1 inch mark here. Let's see, what am I doing here? Okay, so this, I'm going to make a 1 inch mark here because I think that that's where the edge of these tags are going to line up. So this one, and you can completely eyeball this. This is just a me thing. And okay, so we're going to take one of our tags and we're going to line it up with the one inch mark here and the 1 inch over here. So I'm just gonna lift this up just a little bit. I'm gonna add just a touch of adhesive so that it sticks and stays in place. The next thing that we're gonna do is we're gonna take our did I do? Did I take the piece of purple cardstock? Yes, I did. Okay. I happen to have so I miscut something. I cut one of the pages that, or strips down. I created a tag out of it, and it wasn't meant to be a tag. It was one of the layers, so hang tight for a second. That was just an error on my part, but quickly. I was like, where did I get this extra paper from? Okay, so I need my, this one, it's faster. All of my mini trimmers. I told you I have a lot of them. This guy is gonna be 3 1/4. By 7 3/4. That was really dumb of me. I was like, oh, I've got this big, huge piece of paper here. And I really didn't. So, for those of you that need help making a tag out of extra pieces, I've got extra pieces that I'll show you how to do that. Okay, sorry about that, friends. I knew that okay, so we've got our tag here, and then I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on top of this tag because it layers underneath the purple sheet. So this is going to be here. And I'm just going to line this up. I'm going to kind of eyeball this here. So next I'm going to take my other pink tag, and the edge of this is going to be on that 1 inch mark. So I'm going to layer him here, and he's not going to be scored, so he can be glued down. You could score him if you wanted to, but you don't need to. Okay, so I'm going to layer him so he's centered here. And the way to make sure he's straight is just make those corners on either end of your tag kind of be about the same distance from the edge. Okay, so there's that. And we'll make sure that he's kind of straight and that these two pieces are aligned. So I'm going to put this along the edge here, and then this goes here. Doesn't seem quite right, does it? I think that that's because okay. All right, so here, and he needs to be in center. So last night, it was my birthday, and my husband and I, we went out to dinner, and we're planning on going to a place that we frequented quite often and we haven't been to for a while. And so we went there and they were closed because they had some issues with their foundation of their building. And so I'm going to put a mark here on that center point because we're going to score this purple piece. And yeah, so we went unglue this. See, don't ever listen to me. This is how my creative process works. I'm a bit of a hot mess, but we get there in the end. Anyway, so we went to go have dinner at this restaurant, and they were closed. So we went to this other place, and that we've been before, and the food's okay. But anyway, so we went there and I ordered a salad, and it was the most disgusting salad I've ever had in my life. It was a chopped salad, but the chicken that was on it, I have no idea what kind of mystery meat that was. It was absolutely horrible. Horrible, 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 awful, yuck. Anyway, so our evening was not, and they're like, do you want dessert? And I'm like, heck no, we're on our way to McDonald's for a McFlurry. And that's what we did. I had to eat a McFlurry to get the taste of that horrible salad out of my mouth. And I didn't even eat the salad. I had one bite of chicken and I was like, this is not sure where this chicken came from, whether it was the side of a road somewhere, but I'm not eating it. Okay. So here, we're now going to lay these down. So this guy is going to go on the 1-inch mark here, 1-inch mark here, and he's going to be fine. And then this guy is going to line up with we're going to kind of bend this just slightly so we know where that scoring mark is. And plus this adds a little bit of texture to your page too. So I'll put this here, line this up, and put that down. So that should be good. And then we've got this guy is here and he lines up with the 1-inch mark here. So we have our everything's aligned here. And now we're going to take we have a blue tag, and he is going to situate himself so we've got 2 photos, right, that are going to sit here, and I want them kind of centered a bit. And so I think what I'll do is I will okay, so what I'm gonna do is I think I want this here, and I want my, oh, you know what, I know how I want my photo. So this is gonna go here. The edge of my photo is going to line up with the score line here so that when we lift this piece up, this can bend without having any issues. So we will line up I'm going to add some liquid glue here. because I want this to stay put, because it's kind of moving around too much, and I don't want that to happen. Okay, so I want it here. And here. Okay, so I'm going to just add my liquid glue behind. The beauty of these you know, you need that little rubber stopper there, but then you don't. Right, that's nice. What? There we go. If you don't put the cover on these, they quickly, this glue dries pretty quickly, so it's a good idea to put the tip on it, or the cover on it, so that it doesn't get clogged. Okay, so here, this will make it easier. All right, so he's nice and stuck. Now I'm going to put some foam adhesive behind my photo. Believe it or not, I ordered some Teflon coated scissors so I don't have the issue that I had last time with them getting my tape stuck to them. And they've arrived, but I haven't opened the box yet, so I'll have them tomorrow for tomorrow's live. Okay, so this guy is going to line up here along that fold line, just kind of centered on the purple paper, or centered on that purple strip. Alrighty, so there's that, and then we'll do the same with our other photo. Do another. I'm not using my phone because I think it takes too much time. Craft foam has had to go by the wayside for a little while. Okay, so here's our other photo, and I'm just going to put him here. So see, we'll be able to flip this up. You can add more photos, and then you'll be able to flip up this side as well and add more photos, because he's just going to be stitched along the center here. And because of all of the layers, I'm going to do hand stitching rather than machine stitching, because the machine just isn't going to be able to navigate all of this stuff. Okay, so then the last one is our purple tag, and he is going to, we need to make a little 1-inch mark up here. Not with the glue, but with my pencil. So we know where the edge of the the tag is going to sit. So he's going to sit there, and then we also need this guy, and I think that this guy is going to be about here. And so I want to put a little mark where I'm going to score him. I'm going to grab my scoreboard and to put a score line here. And you can use this technique with any project. You know, you can, if you have layers, you can use have like a little score line, and you can layer things behind it, behind your photo, add a bunch of photos, or you can add your journaling there if you don't have a place to add your journaling, or there's not enough space to add your journaling. You can do it that way too. So this one, I am going to think I'm going to add glue to him because I'm going to let him sit directly on the page. And but I also want to line this guy up a little bit too, so that I have him. As I do this, I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive here. And this adhesive I can use an eraser and remove. So okay, so he is going to sit about here. And then this guy is going to go out there. All right. I'll just add a little bit of foam tape here so he stays in place. This is going to be a little off from that 1-inch mark at the top, but that's all right. Okay. So here you go. And here you go. You'll be able to use both of those areas to add extra pictures and things of that nature. So there's our first layer. Then let's add this final photo and try and find where I put mine, because the problem is when you have something white on a white desk, it really doesn't, not a good combination. All right, well, did make one little mistake, but we'll fix it. Forgot one thing, and this will make sense to you. I'll explain why this is an important part. One of the things that I appreciate about liquid glue is that when you stick something down, you have a little bit of time where you can maneuver things rather than with tape and dimensional adhesive. Okay, so see this guy right here? We forgot, and we put down our photo before adding our tag. And which is fine because nobody's gonna see this mess that I'm creating behind my photo by tearing it up. But this is just proof that not everything looks as pretty as it does or as it appears. Not everything is as pretty as it appears on a finished project. There can be a lot of hot mess that happens behind the scenes. You know what I'm going to take, and so now I want to make sure that this guy, I've already got my foam there. I can use my liquid glue on top of it to glue down this guy. But the reason that I want this there is I want this blue repeated down towards the bottom of the layout. Don't just want it at the top. All right, so he needs to be lined up about here and then here. Okay. That might be crooked, but you know what? That's all right. And then this guy, let's see how he will maneuver himself under here. I think I'm going to trim this off slightly because the dimensional adhesive of this other tag is in the way, and I can't slide it under quite enough if I don't trim that piece off. All right, so now liquid glue here. Slip this down on the bottom. And we're all good. Okay, so now it's right. So see how having the blue here, and we're going to have some blue flowers up here. So we wanted to make sure that this blue extended all the way down the page. Okay, so that's all situated. And then I just want to add just a little bit of tape adhesive behind here because I want this to stay in place. Kind of. All right. There we go. Okay, so now we've got all of our first layers done. Next, we're going to add our little pocket here. We're going to fill it full of flowers. And what we're going to do, I'm going to be careful on where I add the adhesive on this. But the one thing that I do know is that I do want foam adhesive. So I am going to take just a bit, and I can add more later. But I'm just going to put a bit behind here so that I can put this in place. And I'm going to kind of build this pocket, and then I'll glue it down when I'm sure of where I want it to sit exactly. So I'm going to take the flowers that I have set aside here, and so we've got this guy. These guys are going to go down here at the bottom. So we've got this guy, we've got this guy, we have this guy up here, this guy, and this guy up at the top, and then we have a couple of little flowers and a leaf. And this guy and this guy and this guy go at the bottom. Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll kind of construct our little pocket, but okay, so here we want, I'm gonna put a little bit of, for these I'm gonna use my phone because I'm better able to kind of put it where exactly I want it. I'm a big fan of fun foam because you can customize it exactly the way that you want it to be. So this guy, put a little bit of foam towards the bottom here, and then I'll likely add some more, but so I want him to sit about right here. And then this one is going to go here, kind of layer behind him. And we'll do this guy kind of up this way. So see, we've got this pop of blue here, we've got a pop of blue here, we've got a pop of blue over here. So we've got all the colors, and then we'll do a little bit of pink over here, and our purple flower kind of at the top, but we're gonna tuck him behind one of the blue flowers. So it's gonna kind of sit like this. So what I'm gonna do is add more foam across the top of this flower because I want him to be stable so he doesn't dip in the center. All right, so here he goes. I'm going to place him on my little pocket, a little bit of glue here, and I'm going to offset him just slightly. Oops, didn't let that dry. So I'm going to offset him slightly. I kind of want him to come down. Okay. All right, so let this glue sit just a second. And then this one, I'm going to add, and we'll put a little bit of foam behind him. Will work. Yep. Okay, I'm gonna add some glue here. And I'm just gonna let that dry for just a second. And I know for sure I'm gonna want some foam behind this pink guy too, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that while our blue one dries. I have a little bit of glue here and put some foam behind it. All right. Yeah, that paper trimmer that with the scoreboard, I love the idea. And you know what? I bought the new Sizzix one that had like it was like an all-in-one tool, and I got it and it was awful. I was so disappointed with it. Okay, so this guy is going to sit there, but we also have a little title too, and I definitely want foam behind him. And in fact, well, we'll put one layer, but I think I'm going to do two because I want him to sit on top of this purple flower, but I want some dimension here. So he's going to need 2 layers on this right side. So I'm cut a little, stack these up. But you all know me and know that I love dimension and all those things on my pages. So okay, so he's gonna sit about here, I think. Want him to be just a little offset from the flower, but this is going to add a lot more color and kind of get rid of, because we've got a lot of contrast up there with the navy or with the denim pocket, and then also with the darker purple in the flowers, and we don't want to have too much contrast up there. We want to lighten it up, and that's where the blue is going to come in, and then this little tag too. So I'm going to put some adhesive here, and I am going to sit him about right there. I'm probably going to have to add a little bit more foam under the flower as well. That's why I'm not sticking anything down to the page quite yet. I just want to make sure that I have all of my pieces put in place. And then this guy is going to rest kind of behind both of those things. So I am going to add just a tad of adhesive behind this purple flower, and I'll kind of set him about here. Maybe a little further down. Okay. He's got glue on him, but that's all right. I've glue on my didn't stick down quite how I wanted him. There we go. So I want him about there we go. Let's see if I can get him to stick in place. All right, so he's there. And then where is my little, this guy, I'm probably gonna let him be flat, honestly. And I'll put a little bit of adhesive on him. And I'm going to tuck him about right here. You know what's going to help me a lot? This guy. All right, there we go. Now we can give him a place to sit. So I'm going to hold that for just a second. And then I want to put this guy on top and tuck him over here. And then put him about here. So he's going to have foam behind him. It is humid here today. We had the strangest summer. It was cool all summer long, not any super hot days, but it's been a little warm, or like kind of muggy and smoky. I think that there's a bunch of wildfires that are burning, and there's a lot of people who are dealing with that, but it's been smoky too. Our air quality, which is weird because our air quality is always nice and clean. I need to put some adhesive here. I wish I could use tweezers. I think that it would make my me look a lot less clumsy, but I'm just not one that has ever been able to master them in a way that they are helpful. I know a lot of people use them, and I always wish I was one of those people that could, you know, take like the small things and add them. Now, if I didn't care that this was going to lift up, I would have just glued this directly to the page itself. But because I want this flap to lift, I want to make sure that I don't put adhesive behind anything that I want to be able to move around. So makes this a little more clumsy, I think. But okay, so here's that guy, and he's got foam behind him, and then we're just gonna put this guy here on top, and he's gonna sit right here. So I'm gonna take him, I'm gonna put some glue on the edges of this guy so that he can sit. You can sit here. All right. I'm just trying to hold this in place while it dries slightly. Okay. So when this sits down, it's going to sit here, but we also have, I need to add some, he's going to sit, I need to tuck this little flower in here, and then I'll add the foam. Oops, well, I did it on the wrong side, but that's all right. This has this leaf has little veins on them, and I have them going upside down, but that's all right. So I'm tucking him behind here. And then I'll add a little foam behind him as well. So in order to keep things supported, I want to add just a couple extra pieces here, and another one over here. He's still movable. I'll put him here. All right. So when we glue him down, and this guy right here, I'm going to add a little orange flower also, and he needs a little foam as well. I love the shadow that you get when you add dimension to your page. I know that it kind of makes your books fill up a little more quickly. You aren't able to fit quite as many layouts in them, but you can do some dimensional pages, and then you can do some that are more flat so that you can kind of have a little of both. Okay. I'm just going to let him rest here. Tuck him there. And our larger purple flower needs a little extra support here because he's kind of dipping. Oh, no, he has some, except it's I think he just needs some glue behind him. When we get everything laid down, it'll be fine. Okay, so here, I am going to situate him about right here. So I want my flowers to kind of sit about right there so that they're aligned kind of with the top of the tag. They can go a little bit above that, but that's kind of where I am thinking the placement should be. And then we've got a couple of other things that we're going to layer here. We've got, this is going to go down here, and there's an orange phrase somewhere that I need to find. That was the one piece that I need to locate, and it is. Okay, so he is going here, and I need foam behind him. Okay, so I'm going to add some glue here. And put this foam behind it. And I'll let him sit for just a second, and we'll grab some of the foam buttons that we'll add up here as well. So I'm going to use like a little kind of a this little pink one. I want to pop these little holes out, and likely since I'm going to hand stitch that center, I'll probably stitch my buttons as well, because I like maybe add just a little tie at the top. This will give this just a little extra dimension here. And then we're going to, so I'm going to add some more foam here as well. So I want this to stick down. So I'll add this. Sorry if I'm not keeping up with, oh, you do 9 by 12? Did you, I would love to see your page, Karen. Be sure to put it in show and tell, because I'd love to see how you adjusted it to fit a 9 by 12 format. That'd be super cool. And if anybody is making these pages with products other than our June kits, I would love to see those as well. In fact, it'd be kind of fun to do a challenge and see what people come up with to try and recreate these pages using stuff from your stash, whether it happens to be hip kit stuff or whether it's, you know, just random products that you have sitting around. It would be fun to see what a hot mess this looks like in the back. But you know what? When I put it down, it's going to be beautiful. All right. So those are kind of the main pieces, and this, what happened there? A piece of foam kind of snuck out. So we're going to go ahead and put him down. And so he's going to stick here. So I want to make sure that I have everything kind of straightened down because he's going to connect these two pieces. So I want to make sure that when I glue him, so I want to sit about here and lift it here. So I am going to add some foam here. And then I'll add some in some other places as well, but I want to make sure. And I'll probably back this with something so it doesn't look so ugly. Because the underneath side is not pretty, but that's all right. Okay, so he's gonna sit here. So when we lift him, he'll be able, well, here, let's see. I need to let this dry for a second because he's going to stick here and here. So he's going to be attached well, but when you, he just needs a little, just a second to dry a bit. We've got some other little bits that we're going to add here, so I'm going to let him sit and kind of get settled in, and then let's add, we've got our little phrase sticker that we need to add, and he'll sit about right here. And I want him to for the sake of, I don't want him to overlap where this fold is going to be. So I want him, and I want him to be somewhat straight. So I'm going to have to put another layer of foam behind him as well. So do that. Right. There he'll sit flat, or so he'll be evenly lifted across, because this has a layer of foam and then we put another layer here, and so we want to make sure that he has the right amount of layers. And then I'm going to take I think I may have used the purple button that I was planning on using on this one. So I'm just going to use a different one, and I'd like it to be purple, and I'd like it to be larger. So I think I'm going to use this guy. I'm just going to poke these two little holes out, and like I said, I'm probably going to stitch this. Now how that's going to work through all of this foam and stuff, I might just thread some twine and just tie it rather than, okay. So there there's that. Lay him there. And so we've got three, we've got purple, 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 and we have orange, orange, orange. We have purple down, purple and orange and pink here. And then we've also got, we fussy cut one of the frames off of the back side of this, but you could use, if you don't have something like this and you have like a scallop punch or something like that, you could use something like that, or even a pattern paper that has a scallop on it. You could fussy cut that and use that to get this same kind of an edge. And I think that I want to have these be straight rather than flanged out like that. So I'm going to just trim the edges off there. I'm going to add some foam behind these flowers. So this is going to take just a second to do that. I want to get it behind the flower. I want some, this piece will work. I have one behind each one of the leaves. I guess I'm off camera a little bit. Sorry about that. One. See, this is where the tweezer thing would come in handy if I could master them. But instead, I do it like this. I feel like all thumbs sometimes. Okay, so then we're going to do another one that is here. We got to add a little foam behind. This guy. Make sure that it's not sticking out. And then he needs some foam behind his little leaves there. And I want to make sure that those are adhered because they're so dainty and they would be something that would just get caught on something else and your flower would get torn. So that's kind of why I want to add these. Where the heck are my tweezers? I know I have it there somewhere. Try them. Oh, here they are. Let's try tweezers and see if they work. See, but then you have your tweezers and you open them and they don't put your thing where you want it. So there's either, you know what might work better is a paper piercer. Yeah, see, tweezers, not for me. Maybe they've got glue on them or something, but they are not my friend. I see people like maneuver with gems and all kinds of things, and I just simply can't do it. I'm not coordinated enough. I just want to make sure that none of that really shows. We're good there. We've got, this guy's bigger, so he's not going to give us grief. So aside from this, what are you guys doing this weekend? I I know that the kids are all back in school, so it's probably like soccer games, football games, all that fun stuff. I miss that stuff. We used to do that all the time with our girls. They all played sports, and the oldest one, she did soccer through 8th grade, but she was never a huge fan of getting hurt or like that like contact part of it. And so she wanted to do something that had less contact involved. And so she switched to rowing when she was a freshman in high school, and she rowed all through high school, and then she rowed for the University of Washington her freshman and sophomore year of college. But rowing or any sport in a D1 program is it's awfully competitive and demanding, you know, so it's hard to juggle both school and your athletics. So I think she decided her sophomore year that, and it's really hard to get like on for rowing, it's really competitive to get on a racing boat, so you can train and train and train. And just size wise, she wasn't the same. Okay, so knowing now that these are gonna sit here, this is gonna be tricky. I think that this guy is going to have to be glued to this guy because these embellishments are going to lay on him. So make sure that that rests there. Okay, so then we'll lay our little scallop border here. I think he's so cute. These little frames are cute too. I have lots of ideas that you could use for those if you were so inclined. So I'm going to set him here. And just kind of make sure that he is straight-ish. I gotta give the glue a chance to sit up a little. And then I need to add some foam behind this guy as well. So he we go. He's got some foam. And then I'm going to have him sit just on the edge of that. But I think I'll put a second layer behind him because I want him to sit up a little higher than both the photo and that little border. So we'll add a second layer. And then he can sit right here. Perfect. Okay, so he can sit there, and then we'll add our little flower garden. So this is going to repeat those colors. And I think I'm gonna trim this little stem off because I want him to tuck right under here. So we'll put some glue on this guy. And we're almost getting to the really exciting part, you guys, where we add color to our little sure this guy's gonna go here. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I have enough space to put all the things. So this is the little purple flower, and he's gonna sit right here. I'll make sure that the leaves are glued down, the little titles adhered properly, and then we've got our little white dainty flower. And these, the purple flower and this white flower were fussy cut from, one of them was from the Fields of Butterflies, and then this other was the one of the purple flowers from this aqua colored paper. So we're gonna slip him in here. How cute is that? Just sweet as can be. Right. I just want to make sure that everything is stuck down as it should be. And then we'll make sure that I think that we have all the pieces. Oh, we need some hearts. We need some hearts. So I have a little purple puffy heart that's going to go up here in the corner. And I'll just put him here. I'm going to do a little orange heart that's going to sit about right here. I might add some foam behind him. I'm not going to do that right this minute, but I think that he's going to need a little bit of foam behind him. And then I think that we need, I already used one of the, what do you call it? The orange foam hearts. I already used that somewhere else. So I'm going to use this little orange foam button down here. And then I can add stitching down here too. So that'll be kind of a cute little addition. But knowing that these little, maybe this is where the tweezers will come in handy. Grab that. Good grief. This is ridiculous. Let's try the scissors. we go. Maybe. Okay, there we go. The one thing that I will say about these is they are sticky. When you stick them down, they're going to stay put. All right, so we'll do that. And then he'll sit about right. I'm going to have him tuck here. And then this guy can be moved. Didn't have enough adhesive there. All right, there, that works. Okay. And then I can just add, I can add a little thread there with a little tie. And you can add little ties on your tags that you can see as well. Now we need to add our title. And I am just going to quickly erase these pencil marks for the most part. So this guy is going to be able to move. This guy is going to be able to move, as is this guy, and then this guy is going to be able to move too. Now I'm going to add, I think, some white cardstock here, so that this is reinforced, because I don't want it to fall apart. So, but I'll do that off camera. You guys don't have to watch me do that. But let's take a look at our title piece, which is right here. It's going to say you and me, and it's going to go in the center of our page. And I'm going to add some mixed media to it. Now, you could do it just like this. I want it to be. Now this is tricky because we have to, just one of the things, how much of this I actually glued to the paper. See, look what I did. I want this lifted because I need to be able to put me over here. So I'm going to set him aside for a second so that I can figure out exactly where he's going to sit, because I need this guy to sit here, and you and me is going to be on this side, because these are chipboard and this is going to move. I need to make sure that they're going to go in the right place. So, but for all intents and purposes, I'm thinking that, what color title do you guys think? I'm kind of thinking purple. Or we could do like a pink purple, kind of an ombre. I think that would be, let's do that. So I'm going to set this aside for a second because I don't want to get paint all over it, but I am going to need a paintbrush, some paper towels, and then something that's blue. So now you can use whatever you happen to have on hand. I'm using our June color kit, but I am going to pull a more blue, magical Lindy's from my stash. You can grab a blue ink, or if you have a set of watercolors or something like that and you want to do that, use those, you totally can. And what we'll do, we'll try the just the regular, grab a piece of cardstock here. We'll kind of swatch these a little and see what works, because maybe the teal will work out okay. I'll just move all this stuff off to the side. And I need my little scoopy thing over here. Okay. You can use like a little teaspoon too, or something. Even like a palette knife, you can use a palette knife too. But let's do some swatches to see what color is going to work best. This is the fun part. I love experimenting with this stuff. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to put my water over here, and these come in our June color kit, and this one is from my stash. And I know that we've had it in a previous color kit. It's called Azure Sea Asters, but I can't remember which month it came in. But I can look and I can add that in the description box. But what we'll do is we'll start with taking a little bit of the pink, and then we'll take a little bit of the, kind of try not to contaminate these too much. And then we'll take a little bit of this teal. And we'll see what happens when we mix the teal with the pink. Sometimes that gets a little bit muddy, but we'll see what happens. So we'll take a little bit of that. And this one's called Dip-a-Toe Teal, and this is a Lindy's Magical, and these are pigment powders that you can mix with water, and they make like a shimmering watercolor. And then this one is the Azure Sea Asters, and this is more of a true blue, I think. And a little bit of this goes a long way. I may have added too much powder. In fact, I'm thinking that I likely did, but that's all right. So what we're gonna do, I wanna make sure my brush is clean. It is. So let's mix these up a little bit. This, and you can see, the shimmer in this up close. You might not be able to see it on camera, but it's got, my light, if I adjust my light a little bit, maybe it will show it better. Let's see if it will. It will. Maybe not. I think that that's just going to create a reflection there, so I don't want to do that. Okay. So here is the pink, and when we swatch it, that's what it looks like. And when it dries, you can see the shimmer. And then let's mix up the, off our brush a little bit. Then we'll mix up the teal. And see, this has got a little more green to it. That's why I don't think that mixing it with the pink is going to give us quite the right color. I don't think it's going to create that purple, but you can kind of, and so if we mix these two together, maybe it's okay, actually, might just work. So actually that might kind of work. If we add enough pink, we'll get more of that. Yeah, I think we can do that. So I'm not going to use, we'll use the June, everything from the June color kit for this one. So I'm going to add this and put it back in my little pot. All right. And then just want to take like a little, take a corner of this paper towel. I just want to wipe this up so that it doesn't mixed in. But that's the color of that one. Okay. Alrighty. So I think I'm going to add just a touch more of the pink. And do you think we should do an ombre, or do you think we should just do a full-on color? We could do like a kind of an ombre that is more of a shade, kind of a light to dark, rather than go green, purple, pink, pink, purple, green. Well, let's see. So if we did and mix these. Okay. So if we did like a little color wash, we'll just kind of experiment a little bit here. I'm gonna kind of clean up my brush slightly. If we started kind of a teal at the top, and then we added the pink, and then we kind of mixed the two in the middle. We could have like a multicolored what do you think? I mean, it's a lot lighter. We'd go a lot lighter, I think. But that could be kind of cool because we've got, I think that's what we're going to do. We're going to do an ombre and it'll be fun. And even if it doesn't work out exactly the way that we wanted to, that's okay. All right, so what we'll do is I'm going to take some of the teal and kind of add it to the top of each one of these words. I think I need, so we'll do that. Okay. And you'll be able to see the resist once we kind of wipe off the excess. And then we're going to kind of add some purple in the center here. Maybe go a little more pinky so we get a little more orchidish. This way it kind of blends together. And then we'll go really pink at the bottom. Sometimes I will do 2 coats of this, but I'm going to let it dry slightly while I do the other 2. Here's the first one. And then that way we can add more color to it too if we want. Switch it up just a bit. So then we're going to take some teal at the top of the me and see that you can see the stripe on this one. And then we'll add some purple here, kind of in the center. Blend this just a little right here. And then we'll take and add the pink at the bottom. And then we'll do the little ampersand. We'll start with teal at the top. See, and this one has the grid on it. The other one has a polka dot that's a little finer, but we'll do the purple here. And then we'll go with the pink towards the bottom. So there you go. And what we'll do here is I'm gonna just kind of blot off the excess, but now you'll be able to see little polka dots. See? I think you can see them. I know that it's harder because the light, my lights are down a little lower, so let's see if I try and blend this a little. Add just another layer of the teal, and then we'll add some purple. Don't want the purple to go up too far, so I'm going to kind of dab that up just a bit. Purple, purple, that blend just slightly, and then I want a little bit more teal here. Kind of, and now kind of take a little bit of that purple off. And now we'll add some pink so that the pink is a little brighter at the bottom. These are so much fun. I think we did some oversized chipboard titles, I think it was last year, maybe in October, but they were just straight chipboard, but you could use this same effect with them, or technique with them. They just wouldn't have the resist However, if you wanted to use like some kind of a texture stamp or something along those lines, and you used it along with some embossing ink or embossing powder, and then heat set the embossing powder, and then your you would get a resist pattern from that. So you could easily do that too and kind of get the same effect. You could do it on a piece of white cardstock if you had like a cut file, and you wanted to, you could do your embossing first and then cut your cut file out. Kind of like the way that this one looks. I do want a little bit more pink on the ampersand, but kind of digging the purple the way that it is. So I'm going to add just a little bit more pink down at the bottom. This one's a little easier because it has a grid that kind of separates everything just a little bit. Okay, so that can sit over here. Now let's do another layer on the me. Although everything's kind of blending together at this point, so see if I can get enough saturated teal at the top here. See, that's kind of turning more blue, so I think just dip my brush in there. There we go. There we go. And then I don't want this to get too blue. I want it more teal, so make sure that I'm able to do that. And the purple in the center is pretty good the way that it is. So I'm going to add, where did I put the pink one? Add just a little more pink. I want to make sure my brush is clean. The other thing you can do with these is you can put them in a spray bottle, like a little spritz bottle, and you can make mists with them as well. So I'm adding just a little bit more saturation towards the bottom of this. And I'm doing that because there's a little more color on these other two. This one has a lot of white to it, so a little bit more pink, and then just a little more of the purple in the center, and then I think the teal at the top is pretty good. Go along the edge here where it seems to have bubbled. Okay, I'll let that dry for just a second while I clean up this extra paint so we don't get this stuff everywhere. But if you have a glass mat, this works great. The other thing you can use is just your packaging. Like if you have some of the cellophane packaging from your embellishments, you can use that to kind of mix your colors on. Or if you have like a little, you can use a clear stamping block or even a little paint palette. I have a paint palette as well, but I just didn't locate it this morning. Okay, so let's tear this piece off. I'm going to kind of remove the extra so that we can see that. Wet this just slightly. Don't want this too wet, but thinking that we just wet it slightly, we can get the and I just need, so there's that piece. Here's this one. I'm going to blot up the extra here. I'm just going to get a little bit of water in my cup. And I'll just clean off these little polka dots so you can see them better. There you go. So there's that. And then with the me, we'll do the same thing. I'm just going to take that paper towel and then we'll clean off. Okay, so there's that. And now we'll add, this is the last part. We'll add this to our page and we'll be done. I guess I need to glue my pocket down too, but yeah, I love it. So glad we added the color. Look how cute that is. That's perfect, right? Makes it just a little artsy. Okay, and I'm not going to add any foam behind these. I'm just going to leave them as they are. Let's see, they're a little bit wet. That's all right. All right, so he will go about right here. Hopefully, even though he's a little bit wet, because the chipboard got a little wet. I don't want to get fingerprints or pull any of that color up. So then next is this guy. About right here. This is where my T-square ruler comes in handy. We'll go about right here. And then finally the me. We want that. Okay, so then have a cat visitor. Jump down, buddy. I have glue here. And this guy will go here. And it's so cute. This got a little bit bleedy, but I think it's still okay. And then we just need to add, glue our pocket down where we want him. But I think this is an excellent opportunity to think what I'm going to do. I'm going to do that later. I'm going to glue him down and then I'll add some Yay. So I'm going to glue him. This part just needs a little more adhesive, so the second little layer of foam can sit. Afraid to have that there. I think what I'll do is I'm going to add adhesive along here. So that everything can kind of glue there. All the edges and stuff. And I'll add just a little adhesive there as well. Hold on to that slightly so that that sticks. And then I'm just going to take my pencil and this. Sorry if my head just got in the way. This will glue there. And then we need to add some liquid adhesive behind this guy because I pulled him up. And I think I just want to tuck him about right there. Perfect. What do you think? And then this guy is here. So now I will take and use a paper piercer, and I'll pierce holes down the center here, and I'll run stitching, and so then our little bits and pieces can lift. This one will be able to lift, so will this one, and then this one will be able to lift here. And then this one as well. So all the rest of them are kind of glued down. So that is how it turned out. What do you think? I'm glad you like it, Michelle. Did you follow along, or are you gonna follow along later? I'm really thrilled with the way that it came together. So all these 3 layouts we created using our project sheet. Oops, this one. And I used the same white chipboard with the resist layer on them, and then I used the Lindy's to create the ombre effect on this title as well. And then there's this guy. So all 3, I think they turned out really cute. One, two, three. And here's your project sheet. So you can download the project sheet on our website, and there's a link in the description below. And one thing before I forget, if you've watched this video and you've enjoyed it, be sure to give it a like and leave a comment below if you enjoyed it. So yeah, you can download this. If you're interested in the products that I use to create these pages, you can also find the link for these as well. You can purchase these kits one-off. You can subscribe and receive them on a monthly basis. You get a better price if you do that. But you know, of course, you can order a single kit and use it up and then order another one if that's the way you want to do it. You can easily do that as well. So I will leave this one on top. I think I might need to add a little bit more glue behind a couple of these pieces, but I think overall it turned out really good. All right, you guys, I am going to sign off for today, and then tomorrow at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll join again and we'll use our, in fact, I have one of the layouts already done, but I'll show you. So tomorrow, this is one of the, oh, it's got cat hair on it. This is one of the pages that we'll create tomorrow using our July kits. So we're getting caught up, people. And then shortly thereafter, I'll have our August project sheet done. Hopefully this weekend. I'm working on it this afternoon, and it's just a process. It's a process. So this is one of the pages. We've got 2 others that we'll be creating as well. So and you can get all the details for that. There's a live that's scheduled. So if you click on the live, go to our main channel and you click on the live videos, you'll see the live scheduled for tomorrow. The other thing too is be sure to click the notification bell once you subscribe to our channel, because then you'll be notified every time we add something new or when we schedule a new live stream. So and we're doing those quite often. Natalie D'Souza does a couple every month on Wednesdays in the afternoons, and then obviously I do a few as well, usually on the weekends. So anyway, I will see you guys tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and I want to thank you all for joining me today, and I hope that you're able to find a little time today to get a little crafty and create something pretty. Thanks, you guys. Have a great day. Enjoy your Saturday. Bye. I guess it would be helpful.